back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage, but I have moved on from that.
So, what we're talking about today, it's not just about some old headlines or a new batch of legal files. No, this is really a story about a deeply personal reckoning. And it's all been kicked up again by new information that's dragged a really painful chapter for Melinda French Gates right back into the spotlight. Just 2 words: unbelievable sadness. That's it. That was the immediate reaction from Melinda French Gates when she was confronted with these new details. Details from a story she'd clearly hoped to leave in the past. And it's just 2 words, but they carry so much weight, a whole painful history. So of course, this brings us to the big question, right? After all these years of really carefully chosen words, a very, very public divorce, what on earth is in these new Epstein files that made her break her silence now? And not just break it, but with such force.
Okay, so first things first, let's just tackle the elephant in the room. This isn't just, old news getting recycled. Not at all. We're talking about brand new documents just released from the Department of Justice, and they are forcing a conversation that, frankly, a lot of people thought was long over. Because what these documents do is they unearth a whole series of really disturbing allegations, all connected to her ex-husband, Bill Gates. And the details are so specific, so pointed, that they've basically forced a public response, shattering that silence she's kept for so long.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What exactly are these files claiming? Well, the answers are all laid out in a series of emails that have just, created this new firestorm. And look, the allegations spelled out in these DOJ emails, they're serious. They're deeply unsettling. According to the documents, the claims cover things like additional affairs while he was married, an attempt to get medication for an STD, there's an alleged incident involving Russian girls, and maybe the most disturbing of all, an alleged plan to give his wife medication without her even knowing about it. Okay, and I have to be absolutely clear on this next point. It is crucial to understand that representatives for Bill Gates have denied all of this vehemently. So what we're talking about here are allegations that have come up again in these documents. They are not established facts. So with that context out of the way, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's move away from the legal papers and talk about the human impact, the deeply personal side of this. How does all of this stuff connect to the end of what was, one of the most powerful partnerships on the planet? Well, according to Melinda herself, the end of their 27-year marriage, it wasn't just one thing. There wasn't some single big event. She talks about it more like a slow, dawning realization, a moment where she just knew the relationship wasn't healthy anymore, like the very foundation of it had just crumbled away. And this is really important. She doesn't frame this new information as some kind of new shock. It's more like a painful echo of the past. She actually says it brings back memories of some very, very painful times, which kind of suggests that these new allegations, they ring true with a reality she's already lived through. And that just highlights this huge contrast at the heart of the whole story, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the public image, right? The 27-year marriage, this world-changing foundation. And then on the other hand, you have the private reality. And Melinda really sums it all up with one devastatingly simple sentence: I could no longer trust what we had. But what's really interesting is that her perspective goes way beyond just her own pain. She made a point to express this deep empathy for the victims of the whole wider Epstein scandal. She said, no girl should ever be put in that situation. And that's a really powerful moment, where she kind of shifts the focus away from herself and onto this bigger fight for justice. So, after all of this, where do things stand now? Well, the final word really belongs to Melinda. And her position today is crystal clear, both about where she's headed and, more importantly, who she thinks needs to start providing some answers. Her message is all about moving forward. She literally says she has purposely pushed it away. She's making a conscious choice here to move on, to build a new life. And it seems to be working. She describes where she is now as a beautiful place. And this is the real kicker. This is the whole point. When she's asked directly about these new allegations, her response is, well, it couldn't be clearer. She says, those questions are for my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me. Wow. That is a clear, final, no questions asked redirection of responsibility. And just like that, a firm line is drawn in the sand.
As far as Melinda French Gates is concerned, she has closed the book on this story. She's shifted the entire burden of explanation. So the question that's left hanging in the air, it isn't about her pain anymore. It's about whether the person she just pointed to will ever truly answer for any of it.
And I am so happy to be away from all the muck that was there.